Hi everyone, so I'm going to be looking at the new Tarte palette. So it's definitely a fun little cover, right, where my turtle can swim in the ocean. And that, so this is Tarte's Rainforest of the Sea, High Tides and Good Vibes eyeshadow palette. So I didn't realize from the picture that this kind of middle row here is all kind of like your glitter shades. So I do feel like they're a little late to the game, because even like the drugstore has it, because you have like Pixie by Petra or doing like these glitter ones. So I feel like they're a little late to it, but I get they want to still stay in the game. So I think you can definitely like this row make looks and these rows make looks. So kind of, because I'm in that pinky shade, I'm going to use that top row there and try not to blind you. So it is very like shiny and that. So I'm first going to start by going into Beach Therapy with a nice spread out blending brush. I'm just going to blend this above my crease. This palette does have a mirror, and it's almost like, I feel like it's a little bit magnifying than that. Otherwise my face is bigger than what I thought it was. Like maybe like just a inch magnifying, and that but I do like that it comes with a mirror. That definitely makes it handy. I'm gonna take South Beach and put it on my lower lash line. Okay, I'm gonna take that color and put it closer on my crease. And then taking Aloha Beaches. I do like that name. I'm just kind of putting that on my outer corner crease. And then with my finger, I'm going to take Berry Gold and put it on my lid. Definitely some fallout just with that shade, that last shade. But not too bad with the other ones for fallout. And that, I do think I'm going to go in with Beach Days, which is that pink shiny shade, and tap it on the outer corner. And then I just went in with Champagne Beach and kind of blended it in. And then just going back in with Berry Gold, kind of going over some of that glitter. So it's not like, bam, glitter. It kind of goes in a little bit more. So I do think with the glitter, there may be like a little bit harder to like work with. So you really want to make sure you're careful with your placement and that. And I think I am just going to use a setting spray, just because I'm one of those like paranoid people that I feel like the glitter is going to get into my eye and blind me. I just want to have some extra hold. So I'm just going to take my Urban Decay All Nighter. And then just with my Lash Paradise, add mascara. So here's kind of my finished look. I think if you don't have any glitter shades, then this one's kind of nice. I don't think my other ones kind of had that tealy color. If you want to try that glitter, then this is a nice kind of palette. I've at least used kind of like that top row there. And it's a nice kind of like glittery look, and it's like a wearable glittery look. I will kind of try out the bottom row but I'll see how these ones last and then take this off my face and then try the green look for you. But I feel like if you aren't really going to use that green shade and you have those other two, then I don't think this is really worthwhile, because like, how many different glitters do you need? Unless you're someone who like is really into those glitters, but I wish like this came out like 2 months ago. Shall check in later today to see how this holds up. Hi everyone, so here's my makeup checking in kind of like 10-11 hours later, and it stood up pretty well, right? Like it's starting to get some fading, but I did use like a setting spray, and normally when I try things I don't, but I just needed to do that for my own peace of mind with the glitter. So I did get compliments on it, so I think yay for that. I think if you tried any of their other Rainforest of the Seas, I do think this is a little bit better. Because just kind of going into their volume 3. Oh no! As I shove my nail into one. I'm kind of doing like, it's not bad, this one. I just think they're really light colors, and I was kind of feeling like there's not enough light colors, but I think I could definitely pull from this one. Kind of like swatching the two, I don't really notice much difference, right? So this is the newer one, High Tides and Good Vibes, and this is like number 3. So I do think though, like, it kind of reminds me more of this quality than some of their others. Like, I don't mind this one. I just don't feel like it has strong lasting power and that. So I did get, as part of like Top Boxes, like one of their missions is the L'Oreal Paris gentle makeup remover for eyes and lids, and it's supposed to be non-greasy. So I'm gonna try that out to take off, and I am sick right now, so I will just show you like the power of concealer and that, because I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like poop. I feel like my eye just, I don't, maybe it's all in my head. I was like, I just felt like my eyes seemed like I got punched and they're a little darker. Like you can definitely kind of see like a bag. I just, whenever you use kind of, it's supposed to help get off waterproof. Whenever I kind of use just a makeup remover like this, I always just kind of let it sit on my eye for a moment, just because like I cake on my mascara. And I'm probably rubbing more than I should. So it doesn't hurt my eye at all. I just want to make sure I got it all off. So I think this is kind of like an interesting formula because it's like non-greasy, and then you kind of like touch and it almost feels greasy, but then like you go back into like you feel like, oh, it feels a little greasy where it's wet, but then you go to like rub it and it's not. So it's definitely an interesting formula. But if we can see kind of like that difference, like I don't know if it's just from like my eyes look a little like I've been punched. So I don't know if it's just a little bit like I'm stained or it's just from being sick. But like, ugh. Just like sometimes it's nice. Like I don't like to always use concealer, but sometimes it's nice when you feel like I just feel a little dead and I don't want to look like a zombie at work. Like if I'm sick, I really don't want to look sick. Because then people will be like, oh, you look horrible. And you're like, thank you. That's what I needed to hear. So I was trying to look better when that happens. So this is definitely like it doesn't sting my eyes at all. I think it's doing a pretty good job taking off my mascara. Definitely when you apply it, it seems like you look at your skin and you're like, oh, it's greasy. But then you just kind of go over. Like if you try and feel your skin for that like oily feeling, I really like don't feel that. And it feels nice and conditioned without like feeling oily. So when it's wet, it kind of has this oilness almost feel, but then it like dries up and it dissipates. So definitely an interesting one to try out. And I always love the ones that have like the two different separation, just because it's so much fun to shake. Like I'm someone, like I want makeup to be fun and enjoyable and that. And now I think I really look like death. Go in and swatch these. Definitely think that top row has a nice formula. Do you think the blues and greens you do have to play a little bit with to really get them there? But the fun of this palette is those glitters and that. So checking in with my Tarte Rainforest of the Sea, High Tides, and Good Vibes. I tried a green look. It just wasn't really working and was just like a fail. But I want to come in again when I'm a little bit like, let's take two of let's trying this. So just with the colors that I want to use, you definitely need a base. So I'm just using kind of Shape Tape just to kind of go over on top of my lids. So I've definitely been sick lately and wearing a lot of concealer that I'm like, I just don't want to wear concealer. I want to let my skin breathe and that. So let's do a dark eye with kind of bags underneath and that. So I just want to make sure it's really kind of spaced out. And like, let me know how you think of the camera angles. Like, I'm definitely trying different ones to see. It's just trying hard with how it's just hard to find somewhere that's functional. Because this is obviously like my closet. To where I can like set up things. Just life's so hard for me of like the little things in life that shouldn't be hard. So I'm gonna go into Surface Up, which is this green color. I was definitely hoping, like, swatching it, you're like, okay, it's already a little darker than what's in the pan. And this is the shade that, like, I think might draw you in. And it's just darker. And, like, to me, this is the shade that kind of upset me the last time. Right? So you definitely want to make sure you have, like, a white base. Like, it's a beautiful color, what's in the pan. It definitely doesn't translate because it's kind of like this tealy color. And then it does translate more to like a mossy green. So I'm just applying it with my fingers to kind of get the best impact. Just to kind of show you some of that difference we can see applying with a brush versus your finger. So that's why I'm not like, oh, let me apply. Like even just applying with a brush, like look how it dissipates that color to nothing. And you're like, what is that? I think like So I think definitely if you're trying to go for like, ooh, I really like that green color, this is what you get. Like to me, this is kind of like kids makeup, because I just think it needs to be more of like a pigment. But at least when this green goes everywhere, it's easy to kind of wipe away. So like, it just makes me feel sad. Like I really wanted that color to be great and it's not, but that's okay. We're just gonna cover it up. So I'm gonna go into South Beach and apply this to my crease. I'm just gonna go into Galapagos, which is that brown shade, and I put it on my lower lash line. So I do like that color. I'm going in to dive in. I'm going to put that on my lower lash line, but keeping it towards my outer corner. And then I kind of flicked it up. But this is going to be my outer corner color, so going in with a flat eyeshadow brush, I'm just going to take it in. I think like the top row is really like easy. The bottom row, aside from the brown, is just kind of difficult to work with. And that like I just don't have like a fun experience using this palette. And like I've used it a couple of times, but for me, like, makeup should be fun. I should enjoy doing it. And like when you have such a great color like this sparkly green that I'm going to apply. So it's definitely a fun glittery color. And I do think like their glitters have like a really nice sparkle to them. I'm gonna go in with that gold shade. So definitely go in carefully with that glitter, because they are kind of like, once it's there, it's there. It's not gonna come off. So I do think like their glitters are really shiny. So this is definitely a palette just to get if you like those glitters. Let me pause and put on some mascara, because I definitely think that will help the look. Finishing it with mascara, like definitely like why people put on fake lashes is it just covers everything up, right? But I'm not a big fake lash person. I just feel like, I don't know, I'm just someone who's like, it's on my face, I can't get used to them. But I definitely think like, I think they're a little late to the game with like the glitter, because even like it's coming out in the drugstore where you have Pixie by Pedra has a glitter one. And that, so definitely if you're not going to use glitter, I don't think this is worthwhile at all. I do think it's nice packaging. It does have some weight to it. I appreciate a big mirror because like I like the mirror. That's like maybe my favorite part, is just a nice big mirror. Kind of looking at the glitter, so the first row here is from my Tarte palette, and then we have from Pretty Rich their glitter, followed by the New Nudes palette, right? So definitely the New Nudes palette has like tinier glitter, and that, but they were both just kind of pink. So like me personally, I think if you want to go with glitter, I think this is a better palette, and that their mirror not so great. And that, but I just think the glitters in here are a little bit easier to work with, and that, but if you wanted a green glitter shade, then maybe go with this one. I just feel like it's a little late to the game because like the drugstore is even coming out with those glitters. So I just kind of expect like the high end to kind of set the trend, and then it kind of filters down into drugstore. And that, but I know like Pixie by Pedra is like a little bit more expensive. I do have that, so let me swatch those just to see. But just that Pixie by Pedra are those 4 colors. So this is just like kind of one of them. I do find it like not too bad for like swatching at least, and that I haven't tried really using them yet, and whatnot. But like I just feel like none of the other colors, like if that green like worked well, then I'd be like, yes, you need this palette. And that, and like the blue looks kind of really vibrant when you kind of finger swatch. But I just feel like it doesn't hold up that impact, and like, oh, it's just so messy to work with. But I think that's like just blues and greens, kind of those dark colors. They're just in general, not necessarily that Tarte palette on that. So I think you have to really think like, are you going to use these colors? I don't think, if you're not getting those glitters, then I don't really think this is worthwhile. I would say go with the Tarte Remix palette instead. If you're like, oh, I want to try things out, but if you are looking for those glitters, I do think they're nice. I just think there are other options, and kind of for that glitter, I think my Too Faced one would kind of be the one that I would say is worthwhile, because I really think they go through looks for that. And like that silver color on me just like didn't work, and that. And then like they're not too bad for like removing. Right, so just removing with a wet cloth. I only look like I slapped Tinkerbell, not like murdered her. Like I would be afraid of the glitter just having issues. So overall, like I think like I didn't really have an enjoyable experience with the bottom row, just because like it was a little bit difficult to work with, and I don't really want that in my makeup when it's such like a competitive game out there. I do think the bottom row is wonderful. I do think you can make this palette work, so I don't think like this is a horrible palette. I think this is a palette for a select few. Definitely a fun packaging. If you're someone who's going to use glitter, then I think this is worthwhile. If you're not, then I definitely think this palette is a pass, just because I think you can find better working kind of those like green colors, right? I do think it's a nice setup to have like your warms and your greens, that like you kind of have the bottom row and then that top row there to kind of do looks with, right? So I do think there's versatility with this palette. So it's not overall, it's just not like, yes, this is amazing. I think it's just a good solid performance, especially if you want to use those glitters. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you have a great day. Bye.